Okay, so we are moving on to our next lesson, and we are going to talk about powers and exponents. Powers and exponents. And we are going to look at this from a couple of different ways and talk about some rules that we need to go over. But to begin with, let's talk about kind of the general thing and some general terminology. So if I gave you something like this, 2 to the 4th, and I asked you first off, what does the 2 mean? What is the 2? What is the vocabulary word that describes the 2? And the answer to that is, the 2 is the base. The 4 is known as the what? Yeah, that's it. It is the exponent. And then together, if we put a base and the exponent together, it's known as a power. Let's move this up a little bit. Because if I asked you, for example, what does 2 to the 4th mean? So if I asked you what 2 to the 4th means, you would tell me that it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Because you take the base, it's the base raised to the exponent, and the exponent's telling me how many times that you're going to multiply the base to itself. You know, remember, it's all about the base. About the base. It's no trouble. Sorry, had to throw that in there. What does 2 to the 4th equal? What it means and what it equals are two different things. What it means was 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. What it equals is when you multiply it all out. And in this case, what it equals is 16. Moving on, in some cases, we have special words that we're going to use. For example, if I asked you to read that to me, we don't say 3 to the 2nd power. We actually say this is 3 squared. This is 3 squared. If I wrote this, that would be 4 squared. You know what 4 squared is, right? No, it's not. It's a game you played in elementary school. Come on, get that right. Okay, no, it is 4 squared. 4 squared, and we know 4 squared is equal to 16. If I have 4 to the 3rd power, that's actually 4 cubed. But if I go 8 to the 4th, that is really just 8 to the 4th power. We don't have any special names for anything over 2 or 3. When we look at something, I could do something very simple, and I'm going to ask you to look at this problem. A times B times B times B times C times A times B times B. And I want you to write this using exponents. Give it a try. Pause the recording for a second and give that a try. If you did it correctly, you noticed that there were 3 A's. That's A cubed. You notice there are 5 B's being multiplied together. That's B to the 5th. And finally, there are 2 C's, so that's C squared. So I get A cubed, B to the 5th, C squared. If I asked you to evaluate negative 2/3 to the fourth. If I ask you to evaluate negative 2/3 to the fourth, evaluate means I want to know what it equals. But I'll start by writing what does it mean. And negative 2/3 to the fourth means negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3, which we can then multiply totally out. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, times a negative 2 is negative 8, times a negative 2 is positive 16. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. So negative 2/3 to the fourth power actually gives me 16/81. Now, the next thing I want to look at is evaluating expressions. So if I said to you, if A equals 3 and B equals 5, if A equals 3 and B equals 5, what is A squared plus B to the fourth? In this case, all you have to do is plug in the numbers for the variables. So A is equal to 3. So this is going to be 3 squared. Plus B to the fourth, since B is 5, this is 5 to the fourth. We know by using order of operations, we will do our exponents first. So 3 squared is 9. 5 to the fourth is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which is actually 625. And 9 plus 625, well, that's 634. So I would like you to try this one for me. Do A minus B squared. Pause the recording and try A minus B squared. Okay, if you did it, you would have done 3 minus 5 squared. You would have told me that inside the parentheses, 3 minus 5, that's negative 2 squared. And negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. So how many of you got positive 4 for A minus B squared? Good. Glad to hear that. And that's all we have for today. I would like you to, in your book, go to page 18, and I would like you to do numbers 1, 3, 5, 8, and 9. So I would like you to try those 5 problems and then come in tomorrow morning, or tomorrow during class, I should say, come in tomorrow during class so we can go over and look at those 5 problems. See you then.